डिसेंबर आला डिसेंबर.
तिथे परिचय मिळाला तिथे लग्न होतं 3 तारखेचं. मेथीत काही पूर्ण टाकायचं
काही टाकून मग रेकॉर्ड
ठीक आहे. मी काय झालं कुठे काय ठीक आहे. विषय नाही
खूप लवकर आली न्यूज. आजकाल न्यूज आहे काय. अच्छा मी आम्हाला 7 वाजता खूप बरोबर क्लास सुरू झालाच ना मला
मेडिकल पैसे बँकेचं काय आहे रे या महिन्यात 15 कोटी
बाबा 15 कुठं काहीच नाही.
शनिवार रविवार ख्रिसमस
तरी पण दुसरं काहीच नाही.
त्याच्यावर काहीच नाही.
4 8 एक 9 अजून काय ते 19 काय दत्त जयंती त्याच्यावर काय
So, dear participants, I think my voice is audible to all, and just few of them you can just type S in the chat box, so that we will now start the today's session. So, expert speaker is already with us, and now we will start the today's session. So, thank you, Mayank, for. No, so we will here just start this. So I again welcome on the behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, Professor Ram Meghe, College of Engineering and Management, Badnera. I welcome to all the participants. Today we have with us the expert speaker, Dr. P.S. Pajgade sir. He is currently the head of the department at Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology and Research, Badnera, in Department of Civil Engineering. He is having vast experience. He completed his B and ME in earthquake engineering from IIT Roorkee, and then PhD and MBA also. He is having the teaching experience of PG course of ME structural engineering at PRMITR Badnera. He is also the registered PhD supervisor at Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati from 2005. And he is working as the member of construction committee for SGBU Amravati University. His professional associations are, he is the member of Board of Studies, BOS, for ex-member of the Faculty of Engineering and Technology at Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati. He is having vast experience of consultancy and sponsor research activities for the construction of industrial building, retaining wall, retrofitting of the structure, and residential building. His total publications are more than 99 research publications. He is the member of the many technical institutions, that is fellow member of Institute of Engineers, then member of Indian Waterworks Association, then member of Indian Society for Wind Engineering, then member of Institute of Society for Technical Education, then member of Institute of Society for Earthquake Technology, then member of NUTA and some few other organizations. He has been awarded by VYWS Amravati for contributing in the teaching field, and currently there are few students, they are doing the PhD under his guidance. He has published 4 books, and he has also filed the 4 patents. So this eminent Professor Dr. Prakash Pajgade sir is with us. So now I request to Pajgade sir to start this presentation, today's presentation of this STDP. Please, sir.
Yes. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning, friends. Thank you very much, Professor Khandwe, for introduction. Friends, earthquake engineering is recently a new branch of engineering. And because of past experience, we learned a lot. And that's why the study of past earthquake is important. Now, here we will see some of the earthquake. Say Kilari earthquake in Latur, 30th September 1993, then Jabalpur earthquake and Gujarat earthquake. We'll discuss some of the case studies from these earthquakes. Now, you might be knowing the details. Now, these are the example from Kilari earthquake. Now, we already know the construction and we know what are the good practices for construction. Now, here you can observe a very thick wall in case of Latur area nearby Kilari. Very thick walls are provided, and then that too, it was in mud mortar. There are no through stone, and whatever we have studied for good walls, nothing was available here. And this was the main reason behind the loss of life and property. For earthquake of around 6.4 magnitude, more than 7,600 person died in this Kilari earthquake. This is the second photograph which shows the cross section, and you can observe there are round stone, bricks, and it is in mud mortar, and that is the main reason why there was such a loss of life and property. The another thing, totally damaged buildings for bank. Now this is the another example from Jabalpur. It is the guest house, two-story load-bearing guest house. The front in veranda front RCC columns were provided, but all other structure was load-bearing. Now, if you observe minutely, you will understand that there was a door opening, and adjacent to that door opening, a very small portion of wall, hardly 230 millimeter thick, and there was a large size cupboard. This is the outside view. The effect of the total shear will be maximum at the base, and that's why you can observe at the relative to first floor, on ground floor, the damage of wall is more. If you see the inside picture, then you can observe here only half brick wall was available because of the cupboard, and a very thin pillar was available, and this was the reason behind the cracking and damage of these particular load bearing buildings. Now we will try to understand the behavior. This is from earthquake tips. Now if you consider this wall and earthquake motion like this, horizontal earthquake motion like this, then we understand that because of overturning, on right hand side tension will be developed, and on left hand side tension will be developed due to moment. If I take a plan of this particular wall, see on right hand side there will be tension, and on left hand side there will be compression. So naturally neutral axis will become vertical, and if I consider dimension along the length 1 meter or 1000 millimeter and this thickness is 230 millimeter, then moment of inertia about neutral axis, as you already know, it will be always dimension parallel to neutral axis will be B and other dimension will be D. So moment of inertia will be 1000 into 230 cube by 12. For this wall, when moment is like this, the neutral axis will be vertical and moment of inertia will be 1000 into 230 cube by 12. But if you consider this wall with a earthquake force in the same direction, then naturally we will have all right, now this is the wall. This is, let's say, 230 and length. For 1000 millimeter length of wall, for earthquake moment like this, there will be tension on this side and compression on this side. So neutral axis will be vertical. And now moment of inertia will become 230 into 1000 cube or whatever dimension, this dimension which is there, I considered at present 1. This is the moment of inertia of this wall. So naturally, this wall will be very strong if earthquake force is acting in this direction. But whereas this wall will be very weak because moment of inertia is very small. And if we consider building, it will have minimum 4 walls. So for this direction of motion, these 2 walls, B walls, will be weak because just now we have seen its moment of inertia will be very small, but these A walls will be very strong because moment of inertia will be quite large. If thickness is 230 and length is L, then here it will be 230 into L cube by 12. That is moment of inertia. It will act as a shear wall. And these 2 walls will be very strong, but these other 2 walls will be very weak. So if there is a proper connection between these 2 walls, then this strong wall can definitely support the weak wall. So that is why these junction of wall is most important. There must be proper junction between the strong and weak wall. And we already know that the earthquake may act in any direction. So if you consider the earthquake force in other direction, then the role will be changed. These, if you consider direction of earthquake motion like this, then this earlier weak wall will become strong wall and this wall become weak wall. But if they are properly connected, proper construction procedure is followed, then there will be proper transmission of forces from strong to weak, and they will help, and the behavior, ultimate behavior will be better. So this is just for 4 walls which are there. So these end portion or corner portion is most important. But if we consider a room, then we must have openings for doors and windows. So if we provide doors in case of load bearing building, if we provide doors very close to the end, then naturally the transmission of load transmission, which is important at the corner portion, will be difficult. Same thing will happen in case of window. If it is of very large size, then the whatever strength which we considered for strong wall, that will be lost. And again, this wall will also become a weak wall, and that's why position of doors and windows is also important. So if you want proper action, box action, then the size of opening and position of opening is important. The another point is, if we consider, say, relatively, say this wall is 350 millimeter thick and this is 230 millimeter thick. Natural, and if we consider same height of wall, naturally, because of overturning moment, this thin wall will be susceptible to overturning compared to thick wall. And in second example, if we consider same thickness, let's say 230 millimeter thick wall, and one is having some height, say 1.5 meter, second is 3 meter tall. And if you consider the overturning moment, then naturally this tall wall will have more overturning moment and chances of damages will be more. Of course, it will depend upon the overturning moment acting. Now, uh, let's say this is the wall and earthquake force or inertia force is acting in this direction of arrow. Now this wall will act as a slab, just like a slab element, and it will be subject to bending moment, and this cross wall will provide a support. So if cross walls are placed at a very large distance, then the support provided by cross wall will be negligible, and there are chances of failure of this long wall. So the spacing of support is also important, and that's why uh, this is important. So uh, uh, openings will be a weak portion, and we have seen that the connection between the two walls is important. Now we can add this strength to the connection between the two walls by providing lintel band. In case of band, continuous reinforcement will be there, and it has to be there so that further additional strength will be provided and these two walls will be properly connected. Because of the opening, some weakness will be definitely there. So if you have a continuous lintel band instead of small local lintels, then it will help in connecting these walls so that its behavior during earthquake will be better. Now these are the examples. Now in case of Kilari earthquake, the intensity, I hope you must have studied intensity. Intensity at Kilari was around 9. There was a cluster of houses uh, where continuous lintel band was provided, and there was no damage to these buildings where continuous lintel bands were provided. Unfortunately, later on, I don't know what was the reason, these buildings were demolished. Uh, but there were 4 to 5 buildings which were constructed as a load-bearing building, 9-inch or 230 millimeter thick with a lintel band, and there was no damage to this particular building. Now we have already seen the damaged building. These are the uh, good buildings at epicenter only. Now in stone masonry also, if proper practice is adopted, uh, proper construction practice with a continuous lintel band, there will be no damage. And this is the random rubble masonry inside view of the building. And even in case of random rubble masonry with a continuous lintel band, there was no damage. These are the example from Kilari earthquake. Now we have seen that if a building, if a wall is tall, then there are chances of overturning. Now this is the gable end, and in case of gable end, this is height of the wall, and in case of gable end, the height will be still more. And you can see here there are no continuous bands visible, and this was the reason behind the failure of this gable wall. There are no continuous band provided, and some additional things are also required for gable wall, and because of absence of this, there was a failure of this. So in case of load bearing structures, this is 2-storied load bearing structures. At a top level, pitch roof is provided. So if foundation is not good, then plinth band will be better. Then we can have lintel band, which is the most important one. If RCC slab is provided, that will act as a band at a roof level. Then for first floor, we must have a lintel band. Then at eaves level, we must have another band, which can be called as a roof band. And then for gable wall, this gable band is essential. We have seen that because of height, overturning of this gable wall is possible, and that's why the gable band will be essential in case of gable wall, so that we can prevent the failure. We have seen here there were no bands at lintel level or roof level, and there was no gable band provided. Now, in case of precast construction, some additional precautionary measures are required. There was one precast house constructed nearby in Kilari area. There has to be proper band at roof level, lintel level, because if only precast panels are used, it is difficult to provide connectivity to the walls. And you can see there was a failure of walls as well as roof. Now, in case of Kilari area, this wooden frame structure was provided, wooden post, beams, etc. This wooden structure was very strong, but for as a partition wall, they have provided very thick wall, more than 600 millimeter thick. And for having thermal comfort, they have provided thick roof also. In some cases, the thickness of roof was more than 450 millimeter, and these contributed to large inertia forces in walls as well as on roof. But this timber frame structure was very strong, and at some location, because it was very good, there was no damage. Of course, these walls were problematic and they fell down, and because of impact of the wall, at some location this wooden framework also was failed. The another thing is, in case of frame structure also, the inner walls, these walls are important, and all elements must be properly connected to the main structural element. There was inner partition wall, we can say half brick wall, which was not connected to the main structure. Now, this thin wall, because of inertia forces, it can be easily overturned. So we must take care of structural element as well as non-structural element also. Otherwise, there will be damage or overturning of non-structural walls. In case of frame structure, nowadays the location of column will be quite large, and in that case, we want to use very thin walls so that carpet area will be more. So in such a situation, we must provide vertical and horizontal band, and these bands, this is vertical band and horizontal bands, and these bands must be connected to the main structural element so that we can prevent the overturning of these partition walls during earthquake. It is most important. Even if you provide strong columns and beams, etc., but if you are not paying attention towards the parapet walls, inner partition walls, its connection, then the overturning will be definitely there, as we have seen here. Again, the size of panel is also important. If brick panel is very large, and if it is not connected to the main structural element, it might be overturned. This is from Jabalpur. You can see the separation of outside wall from the main frame element. Because the magnitude was small, it is in condition, but if you consider higher intensity, definitely the wall will definitely overturn because of out of plane inertia forces. Now we have observed, this is the old guest house. It is just like a band they have provided, a tie bar with proper arrangement, so that at these level the walls will be properly connected. It is old guest house, but these principle they were knowing, and that's why they have provided a band in case of in the form of tie member. I hope you must have seen the zoning map. So whenever we design, it will be designed for intensity. For zone 2, the expected intensity might be 6. Sometime definitely higher intensity is possible, because there is no guarantee that intensity will be less. It can be higher in epicentral zone. The expected intensity in zone 3 will be 7. For 4 it is 8, and for 5 9 and more. So these are the expected intensity for which we will have to design the buildings. This is the zoning map for, isosysmal map for Gujarat earthquake, and whatever intensity which are reached, they are shown. The another one here, the intensity reached, it is 10. This was epicenter Bachao, and in this particular portion, the intensity was very high. It was 10. And at Ahmedabad, intensity was 6 to 7. Now in IS 1893, annexure D, MSK intensity and its description is given, so we can understand the intensity, and after manual inspection, this intensity will be decided and it will be assigned. The another important concept is rigid diaphragm. Now in case of frame structure, generally we provide RCC slab at same level, it is advisable. Now if you consider the moment of inertia of this slab for this direction of earthquake motion, let's say thickness is 0.125 and this dimension is 8, then this slab will be very strong in its own plane. The moment of inertia in this plane will be thickness 0.125 into 8 cube by 12. So this slab will be very strong in its own plane because of very high stiffness. So what will happen? This slab will act as a rigid body, and because of this, it will provide uniform deformation to all member, and that is why the earthquake forces will be transmitted along the members as per the stiffness. If member is very stiff, it will carry more force. If member is having lesser stiffness, it will carry less force. And the reason behind this is the rigid diaphragm, because this diaphragm will move like a rigid body. We can see this diary. So it will move as a rigid body because it's a very stiff slab, is very stiff. So this is most important feature we must understand. The slab acts as a rigid body, and it will transfer forces according to the stiffness of member. And that is why it is expected that we must have only one diaphragm at slab level. As far as possible, it must be at same level. Now this is the building. This is from Gujarat earthquake. It is a railway station at On. For veranda portion, slab was provided at lower level, and for slab portion, main slab portion was provided at upper level. So diaphragms were at different level. It is load bearing, partially load bearing we can call. The lintels were provided, but unfortunately the development length was not given importance. You can see in this particular photograph, this is lintel and this one is the another lintel. Actually the reinforcement should have been continuous one, but these reinforcement were not continuous, so there was separation of this part of a lintel. Actually it should have been continuous one, but it was reinforcements were not continuous, and that's why you can see there is a failure of this lintel, and it is somewhere here. Here also you can see because of reinforcement detailing problem, there was a separation. Now development length is most important, and suppose if you consider that a cantilever, and if it is subjected to tension, then maximum force in bar will be stress level multiplied by cross-sectional area. Phi is the diameter of bar. So stress level into cross-sectional area, this is the force in the bar. And suppose if you want that this force must be developed, then there must be sufficient development length. So we know there will be bond between the reinforcement and concrete, and this bond stress is tau bd, and it will be developed because of the contact, and contact area for this bar will be pi into phi, that is the circumference into this length, development length. So if maximum stress is developed at a face of this cantilever, then the development length, we will know the force in the bar by this equation, and how much the bar must be embedded, so that we can calculate by this. Tau bd is the bond stress, and this is the surface area, pi into phi into LD. So we can calculate development length. The equation is already given in the code. So the value comes out to be 47 times the diameter for M20 and Fe415. Suppose if you want that the force must be developed in the bar, then this bar must be embedded in the concrete, or from the point of maximum force, it must be embedded in the concrete for length equal to development length. Otherwise, even if you provide reinforcement, it will be of no use. So this must be given proper attention. Otherwise, even if you provide reinforcement, it will be of no use. This is the frame structure in Bachao, which was the epicenter of Gujarat earthquake, and it was only ground story constructed. It is under construction, but because of detailing problem, you can see there were several problems. The columns were almost crushed at many locations. So this is the point junction at the plinth level. Now we already know most of the things I have taken from tips. So under gravity load, if it is a frame structure, we know that tension will be at the bottom, tension will be at the top, and column here tension will be on inner side. In addition to gravity load, if you consider horizontal force because of earthquake or wind, then this type of displacement will be there. And now at the beam, tension is at the bottom, and here tension on right hand side. If you earthquake is a reversible force, if you apply force in other direction, then here tension will be developed at the bottom. So tension will be developed at top as well as bottom during earthquake, and that's why reinforcement detailing is important one. Now this is the junction. Now you can see here the detailing part, the cover is not sufficient, the stirrups are also not closely spaced, which are required. And see here a junction. The development length for top bar as well as bottom bar will be important from earthquake point of view, because reversal of force will be there. There can be tension at the bottom face also, just now we have seen. Now you can see here development length provided for bottom as well as top bars. And in this particular critical portion, there are no stirrups visible. The size of column was very large, I think sufficient, but because of detailing, there was damage. Now here you can see there is an opening of link. Now during earthquake, this cover concrete, there will be spalling of cover concrete, and if spalling of cover concrete is there, then there will be opening of link if it is not properly anchored in a core concrete. And if there is an opening of link, then this main bar will become longer in length, unsupported length of bar will be longer, and the buckling failure of reinforcing bar is possible. Now you will study this in a ductile detailing. Now we have seen that there will be spalling of the concrete, and then cover concrete will be of no use, and that's why the link must be anchored in the core concrete, inside concrete. The diameter of link and spacing is important so that we can have confining effect. If you provide closely spaced link, then the same concrete will give you more strength. Now, if you remember the triaxial strength test in case of soil mechanics, if you increase the lateral pressure, the load which can be taken by soil sample will be more. Same thing is possible if you provide closely spaced link, then the strength of same concrete will be many-fold more. And that's why these closely spaced links are important. And the diameter of link is also important. And in this case, you can see the diameter of link is not sufficient and proper anchoring was not there. And once links are lost, these bars, effective length of individual bars will be very long, and then buckling of bar is possible, and that will lead to the failure of entire column. So there is chain reaction. So diameter of link and anchoring of link is most important. This is a very small issue, but if it is not paid attention, there will be problem. See, this type of anchoring is expected in a core concrete. If it is provided parallel here, then just now we have seen that there will be spalling of concrete and then opening of link. Then these bars will buckle because of loss of lateral support. So this type of anchoring is expected so that behavior will be better. And if you provide closely spaced links, definitely the confinement will be better and same concrete will give you more strength. For the same railway station building, veranda column, they were of RCC. Now you can see here again, because of normal link, opening of link and then the crushing of the column. For veranda, dummy columns were provided, but it should have been properly anchored. These whatever bars which are there, the proper anchorage is expected. Because it was not provided, there was failure at the bottom as well as at top. Now in Gujarat earthquake, the buildings which were properly constructed, this is the load bearing building, double storied. Whatever good principles which are there, they were followed, and that's why there was no damage to this particular load bearing double storied building. At on railway station, this is the railway quarter which was constructed. Railway station just 100 meter away from the railway station, this is the quarter. But because there was only slab at one level, proper lintel was provided, openings, proper openings were provided, locations and sizes, etc. There was no damage. So you can see the difference. Just 100 meter apart, two buildings. If you follow the proper guideline, there will be no damage. If you do not follow, there will be total damage. This is another building, load-bearing building. Here you can see there was a large opening, and because of large opening, there was damage. Here lintel band, continuous lintel band, you can see this Bhuj area is in zone 5, and in zone 5, it is also expected that we must have vertical reinforcement at the corner, and some band must be provided at sea level also, so that performance will be better. Because of lintel band, the building is in standing condition. Now, by providing vertical reinforcement and seal band, definitely the damage would have been minimal. Again, similar things, seal band is expected in a zone 5 and also vertical reinforcement, same building, another view. But another important point which you must observe, This is at epicenter only, at Bhachao village. All other multi-storied buildings, frame structure, they collapsed. But these load-bearing building, because of lintel band, it is in standing condition. So whatever measures which are adopted, which are given in the code, if we follow that, then the performance will be definitely better, because these are the live example. Now there are guidelines given. This is the manual for earthquake resistant non-engineered construction, published by ISET. All precautionary measures, what should be the size of brick pillar required adjacent to the door, window, all things are given, so that building will have better response in the earthquake. Now another important thing is a short column effect. This is important thing. If we consider normal strength of material principle, then we will not be able to solve the earthquake problem. Now I will show you, let's say this is a building with a 3 multiplied by 4, 12 columns are there. Now from theory of structure, we know that if height of column is L, the stiffness of column against lateral deformation is 12 EI upon L cube. If length is L, we will have stiffness of column 12 EI upon L cube. Now there is another column where this height is, instead of L, it is L by 3. So we can calculate its stiffness. We'll have to replace this L by L by 3. So what will be stiffness of column with a height equal to L by 3? This L by 3 cube. So it will come at the top, and stiffness of this column with a height equal to L by 3 will be 27 times that of this long column. If it is a long column, it will be flexible, but if it is a short one, and if height is 1/3 of this column, it will be 27 times stronger. So these are the 12 columns. If height of all column is same, then stiffness will remain same. But unfortunately, sometime what happens, some unwanted supports are, lateral supports are available. Now this is the brick pillar. These are the structural column. You can see the column. Now this is the adjacent building, and compound wall is provided here. And this compound wall is providing a lateral support to this member, this column. And because of these, the effective length of this column is around L by 3. For inner column, the effective length is L, but because of this support, unwanted support provided by these compound wall, the effective length has become L by 3. Now, same photograph, you can see the damage also here. There are columns, and these are brick pillars for supporting the gates. So let's see again. There are 12 columns. Actually, length was same, but because of unwanted support of masonry, this one column has become a short, and stiffness of that particular column is 27 times more because of calculation which we have seen. Suppose if you consider this type of situation, and if I consider that the earthquake force is 1000 kilonewton, and there are 12 columns of equal length, then stiffness will be same, and the horizontal force carried by each column will be 1000 divided by 12, that is 83.33 kilonewton will be horizontal force taken by one individual column. But if unsupported, unwanted support is provided, then what will happen? This column will be very stiff. Just now we have seen that the stiffness of this column will be 27 times more than the other. So if you consider the total stiffness, then 11 for other columns of length L, and for this one column, it will be 27 K. So total stiffness will be 38, and force taken by one column will be 26.32. For height of column equal to L, the force taken will be 26.32. And what will be force taken by this stiff column? It will be 27 times this, so 710 kilonewton. So out of 1000 kilonewton horizontal shear force, which might be acting during the earthquake, the force taken by this single column will be 710. And this will be definitely more than its capacity. And that is the reason behind the failure of the short column. No doubt from the strength of material principle, if short column is there, then it is very strong. But because it's very strong, it is attracting the large forces. And it's not, forces will not be transmitted as per tributary area. It will be transferred as per stiffness, because the just now we have seen that the slab acts as a rigid diaphragm, and because of this rigid diaphragm, the forces will be transferred according to stiffness. So this column has become very stiff, and it has taken very large force, and the capacity of carrying shear force was not sufficient, and this lead to the failure of this single column because of the short column effect. Now there are number of situations where short column will be possible. Even if in a building we provide a loft slab, and that will lead to some short column. Sometime brick walls are provided for some panel up to some small height, and this lead to the adjacent column as a short column, and these short column will attract large forces. These are the mezzanine floors provided. Now if it is a building on sloping ground, then these column will attract more forces even if size is same. Then another thing is the performance of a lift. Generally RCC wall will be provided, it is recommended, and these walls will be very strong because its moment of inertia will be very strong. But it must be connected to the slab properly. Its strength must be utilized for entire building, then it will be of use, it will be useful. Now this lift core is very strong, but it was unfortunately not connected properly to the other slabs, and that's why there was failure of entire building, but lift core is standing. The same another building where lift core is standing, but the other building is uh, collapsed, totally collapsed. Now many a time, instead of providing RCC wall, columns are provided, and then brickwork is provided for lift. Let's see some calculation. Now instead of 4 columns and wall, if you provide RCC wall minimum 0.15 meter thick, if you consider earthquake direction like this horizontal, then the moment of inertia of this wall will be 0.15 into 1.8 cube by 12. This is the moment of inertia of this single wall. Instead of this, there are 2 columns. If you provide 2 columns, the moment of inertia of 2 columns will be 2 into 0.23 into 0.35 cube by 12. This is the moment of inertia. So if you provide one say wall of 0.15 by 1.8 meter, then moment of inertia will be this. And if you provide 2 columns, moment of inertia of these 2 columns will be this. If you calculate ratio of moment of inertia of wall to the column, then it is 44.35. So this small RCC wall, which will act as a shear wall, will be 45 times stronger, around 45 times stronger than this RCC column of 230 by 350 millimeter. And that's why whenever it is possible, we must go for RCC shear wall, at least in a core portion, so that it will be very strong. And it will be strong for this portion, as well as it will be strong for entire wall also, entire building also, because we have seen that because of a rigid diaphragm, slab will transfer load according to stiffness. This is a very stiff member, so most of the earthquake forces will be taken by this wall, and this will definitely help in resisting the forces. Then there are some other features also. If you provide L-shaped building, then there will be a torsion developed, and that's why these are not expected. If you want shape, then you can have a shape, but let's provide individual block like this, so that you can have purpose, as well as this building will act as an individual building. At the corner, there will be stress concentration, and that's why L shape is not expected. This is the buildings where damage to the building because of L shape. Then whenever two adjacent buildings are there, and if gap is not sufficient, these buildings will vibrate in different mode and they may bang each other, and that's why sufficient gap is expected. Otherwise, because of impact, there will be damage. And the most important thing is we must have very strong column. But the thing is, the structure provided in our area or in India, it is generally weak column and strong beams. The columns are not at all mentioned. We must have very strong column and weak beam. Now these are the example from Gujarat earthquake. For 10-storied building, this was the size of column provided, hardly 230 by 450 millimeter, and the size of footing was almost 1.6 by 1.8 or so, and it's not sufficient for dead load and live load condition also. This is for Shikhar Tower, and this is the main reason behind the failure. There was no there was violation of codal provision. Then this is a guest house at Kandla port. Now this is not a ground story, it is a first floor. All columns on ground floor, they were crushed because of the soft story effect, and that's why this first floor is looking like a ground floor. Similar things, shops were there. There was failure of ground floor. You can see the column, and this building has fallen by 1 story. This is from Jabalpur earthquake. For parking, where there are no walls, some additional precautionary measures are required. If these measures are not taken, this type of failure will be there. The another important thing is arrangement of structural element. If you are arranging the structural element properly, then the response will be very good. If you are not arranging the structural element properly, then the response of structure will be very bad. So proper structural walls and column must be provided. That is most important thing, and symmetrical arrangement of structural member is also important. At the top level, if you because building acts as a cantilever fixed at the ground and free at the top, if you vibrate from the bottom, there will be large vibration at the top level. It is called as amplification effect. So whatever structures which are provided on the top of the main structures, such as staircase, tower, they will experience more earthquake force. It is called as appendage effect. Amplification of ground motion will be there, and these parapets at the top or staircase tower, they must be designed for 5 times seismic force. If proper precautionary measures are not taken, definitely there will be failure. This is the photograph where failure of water tank is seen. The sizes of columns were good, but because of appendage effect, large force will be there, and which leads to the failure. Now for vertical projection, it is given in the code, we must design it for 5 times the earthquake force. Now this is from Jabalpur earthquake. The parapet, it must be properly connected to the main structural elements such as slab, and if it is a frame structure, column must be projected, and this wall must be properly connected. If you would do the calculation for parapet, then 1 meter tall parapet with a 230 millimeter thick, it is not safe. It will be easily overturned in case of cantilever action. The staircase tower is important. Now here you can see only half brick wall without any band, etc. Because of large opening, there is a crack. This is from Jabalpur. So here calculations are shown for parapet. I think time is not sufficient, so I will not explain it in detail. These appendages, that is these small structure located on the top of the main structure, they will be designed for 5 times earthquake force. So here I have shown you a calculation. If 1 meter length of wall is there and height is 1 meter, we can calculate its dead load, and earthquake force can be calculated. It is 5 times the AH we'll have to consider for appendages, and it is, we can calculate, you can see this, I will provide you this presentation. So overturning moment is very large compared to stabilizing moments, and that's why these parapets are not safe. They must be properly tied to the slabs and other element, otherwise these walls will be overturned, as you can see here. So importance of main structural element is also there, as well as importance of non-structural element is also there. Now, you know, even a 1 brick will be sufficient for killing a person if it is falling from the height. And that's why structural and non-structural elements are most important. So this is the building from same Gujarat earthquake. It was properly constructed, so there was no damage to this building. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So there are some few questions in the chat box.
Yes. So where is chat box?
What are the preventive measures for parking where there are no walls?
See, if you see the recent code, it is mentioned that we must have a RCC shear wall or bracing. So if you provide shear wall, it is given that 2% of plant density must be provided in each direction by this wall. So it becomes quite costly. But instead of that, if you provide bracing in the form of RCC member, it's better. So by providing RCC shear wall or bracing, RCC shear wall area required is 2%, but we can have a bracing in the last bay. We can do the analysis and design can be done so that we can make the parking structure or open story safe.
One question was there from Sandeep Patil.
Yes.
So he is asking about what is backfill overturning.
Yes.
Backfill overturning.
See, if you
regarding retaining wall.
If you consider a retaining wall, then because of earth pressure, there will be overturning moment, and this overturning moment must be considered.
So very nice experiential session was conducted by Dr. Prakash Pajgade sir. I really thank that on the actual photographs, how the technicality we can correlate with our formulas and how then we can understand the behavior of the structure. That was very well explained by Pajgade sir. Sir, there is another question. How we can build the wall on parapet wall?
Parapet walls will act as a cantilever, and it is prone to earthquake. So if it is a load bearing building, from slab we must take few bars so that this parapet wall will be tied to the slab. If it is a frame structure, then we must project this column above slab, and then we can have coping so that whatever earthquake forces which are there, these will be transferred to the column also. And if you want, I think I have answered the question. I don't know whether I have answered it or not. Yes.
Then how can we be the dummy column used for restraining the forces also?
See, if size of a panel, brick panel for partition wall, if it is very large, then overturning is possible. So for supporting these wall, if you provide dummy column which are connected to the lower beam and upper beam, then the size of brick panel will be divided into different part, and these dummy column will be able to transfer the earthquake forces from the wall to the main structural element at the top and bottom. Otherwise, if there is no connection, then this wall will be easily overturned.
Okay, thank you participants for being interactive with this chat session. So if there are a few questions, then you can chat, or few of you also can unmute yourself and ask the question directly to the expert. And then after 5 minutes, we will break this session, and then another session will again resume at 11:15. So I think, sir, there are no more questions from the participants. So thank you once again, Padgade sir, and all other participants. And now those participants, before leaving the meeting, for your attendance purpose, you have to drop your mobile number in the chat box, and then we will officially end this meeting session. And next expert is also ready with us. Now the next session we will start with 11:15 with the new link of STDP session.
Okay, thank you very much, Khandve
Thank you,
and
sir.
all participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I am just ending this meeting, and again initiating the another meeting link of 11 a.m. because the expert is waiting for us for 11:15 session. So this meeting will be ended here, and you have to log in with the another link with the new session just now within a minute. Thank you all for being participants for this first session of day 2.